who are in the community of Louisiana who are interested in doing really cool things. Some of it's AI adjacent, some of it's not. We use AI as a driver for conversations with a lot of different people who are adjacent in that world. So it's a place where a lot of cool things happen and a lot of magic will happen. So we'll have that for 3 days, the 9th, 10th, 11th. Also sponsored by Crescent 9. Yeah. And we'll have a red beans and rice Monday community meal. We're gonna have it's gonna start on a Sunday and it's gonna go to a Tuesday. And so that's happening. If you're interested in that, noai.fyi. You can check it out. And if you're interested in submitting a panel, panels are open till September 11th. Okay. And also, thank you to Crescent Canna for supplying our drinks for tonight. I just have to say that. I'm probably going to say it 5 more times. Without further ado, I want to give you a little bios and background real quick. I just want to introduce these people. Some of you may know them, but here we go. Polo Silk, born 1964 in New Orleans, celebrated photographer with a blend of portrait, fashion, and performance. He brought the studio to the streets, from Super Sunday to bounce clubs, often with vivid airbrush backdrops painted by his cousin Otis Spears. Today, with his subjects, Polo has built one of the city's most striking visual archives of Black individuality and expression, capturing a collective identity that is authentically New Orleans. Crista Rock is a filmmaker, photographer, Thank you, Crista. Crista Rock is a filmmaker, photographer, photojournalist, and who has spent 25 years documenting the culture and spirit of New Orleans. In 2010, she founded Crista Rock Productions to tell local stories on screen, including her recent 8-episode cooking show, Blind Kitchen, on Very Local. A defining moment in her career...
This is slightly outdated, but that's okay.
It's fine. A defining moment in her career came during Hurricane Katrina, when she filmed for NBC Nightly News. Her work, whether film, photo, or mural, is fueled by passion for New Orleans that radiates the city's resiliency and vitality.
That's right. Keep it up.
Prosper Jones. Stephen Renee Henry, known as Prosper Jones, is an interdisciplinary artist born and raised in New Orleans. Photography became his primary medium after his mother gifted him a camera in his early 20s. Documenting his everyday life and music scene, he developed a visual style that captures the soul and raw essence of his subjects. His work is shown in galleries across the South, with 3 pieces in New Orleans, permanent art collection. In addition to photography, Prosper is internationally recognized music producer whose compositions have appeared on FX, Hulu, Showtime, BT, ESPN, and Netflix.
What?
Any inaccuracies there?
I was like, why? I didn't know you were going to do that. Tight.
I gave you my bio, but I didn't read it, and then I was like, oh shit, I haven't updated this in like some years, so that's my bad.
You're in a good spot for that. It's cool. You're with family. So we have them up here today. What we're gonna do is we're gonna run through a panel. I'm gonna ask some questions. Not everyone has to answer the same questions. It's all good. We can flow, and then we're gonna give a little time for Q&A from the audience at the end. Right? Get yourself a Crescent 9. I want to ask Polo. I really want to know what drew you to the camera first as a tool for capturing the world.
It's like Malcolm X says in like Denzel Washington says in Malcolm X, Plymouth Rock, they land on us. We landed on Plymouth Rock. Kind of like with me, it's just something I started when I had a teen club, Club Adidas in 87. Well, I first started in the boys club. I already had kind of like a passion, I think, inner passion for photography as a kid always. In the black households, you know, your grandmother living room, your aunts and everybody living room, you go into black households and the walls are just flooded with photographs and stuff. So I thank God that my archive was spared, because a lot, you know, I've been able to close a lot of gaps with people who kind of like, I started off at like 13 taking up photography. They had a photography class at the boys club, but I always was drawn to the Ebony magazines, the Jet magazines and stuff like that. Even at the boys club and in school and at the library, I always been grabbing magazines and stuff and looking through them and just something about the pictures just drawn to me. But I opened up a teen club in '87 on Canal Street called Club Adidas. We had one of the first teen clubs in the city, and we had an extra room. We left when we went by a friend of ours, Warren Mays, had the other competing teen club called Club 88. One night we went by his club. He had the little wicker chair set up, and I'm like, oh, man. We had an extra room in our club. So as soon as I got back, our club, that was a Friday, we went by his club, because clubs be up and down on Fridays, because the football season, the football game, high-speed football. That Saturday, I started working on trying to set up this extra room we had as a picture room. I didn't start off with my backdrops and stuff like that, but hip-hop and rap was first starting out. So what I did, all the hip-hop, because the name Polo Silk comes from trying to be an MC and stuff. So around that time, hip-hop was just, had all us wanting to be rappers and stuff. So any magazine that came out with LL, the Rakims, and all the artists on them, I just grabbed them all, and I was trying to figure out to make my picture room. Well, I brought my bedroom to the club, because they had a bookshelf in there. I put Air Jordan 2s, the first $100 Jordans came out. I think I had that shoebox on the shelf. I had the Polo shoebox on the shelf, some other stuff in my room, and the one wall was just full of all the hip-hop posters, and the wicker chair just set it off, and bam.
Prosper. The same. The object, the camera. When did it first really?
Kind of the picture I got Polo. Like I think the inspiration for photography came from like my childhood. Just my grandmother and my mother were like very known to just like take pictures at every family gathering, like every single thing. And we had like boxes and boxes and boxes and boxes of photos that they took, like all films, Polaroids and films. And I remember, messing around with the camera, like the little Kodak disposables. But when I got to college, my mom, I think you mentioned in my bio, my mom got me this like little General Electric digital camera. It was just like a chill camera, and she was like, "Hey, got this for your birthday," and I was just like, "Oh, this is tight." And I just started going everywhere taking pictures. Like, dude, I was just like, "Oh, I can like document my experiences. I can like save moments with my friends. I can tell stories." So yeah, after that, it was just kind of like, like that was where it pretty much really, really started. I think that moment.
Crista, we got to get your origin story with camera.
I got my first camera. It was 35mm AE1. Still have it. Oh, me? No. It's right here. Okay, it's fine. It's good, everybody. Everybody good? We'll make it ASMR, and I'll just tell you the rest of the story like this.
So Canon AE1.
Yes, sorry.
Do you still have it?
Yeah, I still have it. It's sitting on my shelf under my TV with some other cameras. And my neighbor down the street worked at a Moto Photo. I don't know if you guys remember Moto Photo back in the day. But he had a little darkroom in his basement, and he taught me how to develop film. And I just became obsessed. I was 5 years old. I could not stop, and I just never have. It's the only job I've ever had, is being a photographer my entire life. And the story goes on and on, but that's what it is.
Shucks, we didn't have basements where I grew up.
I'm from Cleveland.
We didn't have basements.
Wait a second.
Yeah.
Wait a second. You're from Cleveland?
Yeah, the Tennessee Williams quote. We all know it.
You know I'm from Cleveland too.
Yes.
Oh yeah, we talked about that.
Go Cavs.
I went to Charles F. Brush High School.
Oh yeah, Brush. There we go.
Yeah,
It's St. Edward High School.
Yeah.
We'll talk after about that.
Okay.
Serious conversation.
I'm
sorry.
Prosper, I want to start with you this time because I know that you throw some fucking wild parties. That's why I'm here.
Wild?
Well,
Okay.
You throw some parties. So you're in the mix with the culture, but you're also documenting the culture. And I sort of am thinking, the question for you is like, how do you balance sort of being a participant and also documentarian?
Ooh, that's a good one. I think I'm big on community, you know what I'm saying? So being able to curate events, they're not always parties. I also do like, art exhibitions, and I curate like musical performances and whatnot, poetry events, stuff like that. So, but also we live in a city where people like to have they like to turn up a little bit. So I try to curate a space that welcomes community and then kind of, it crescendos into like a really good time. But yeah, man, I think it's a good question because I just kind of felt like there was a point where I was just trying to just like discover my calling, I guess, or like my gifts, strong suits. And then there was like the other side of it that's like dealing with gatekeeping a little bit. And trying to just like navigate that. And that's kind of what led me to do events. Like the events was kind of like I wanted to like help build the infrastructure that helps like creators I know like be able to thrive through them, or at least like get some type of like positive thing from it. And then with photography, it was just like that's like my private kind of human experience. It's like very raw perspective. There's no real like I'm just living my life and I'm just documenting my experiences. But yeah, it's just organization, like being crazy and like being unorganized long enough, get organized.
Does anyone else have that?
Yeah, like,
Does anyone else experience that?
I didn't just have it figured out. I was just kind of like work in progress, and then eventually like it started to make sense. But I'm grateful to be able to curate events too, though, because I think it's just good to see community come together and like kind of be in harmony, fellowship, celebrate our hard work, because we all work really hard. So
yeah,
that's also why I do that, to create that space for art.
Polo, I want to pivot to you real quick and answer this question, or ask you this question. And I want to ask it from the lens of how you go out and document an experience, and then you create the object of the experience, and then you wrap it up in a gift wrap, and then you bring it to someone else to have another experience with it, and how you do that. Explain a little bit about that, because that's a multi-dimensional, multi-level thing you're doing there.
No, I think, and I tell people, because if it wasn't for the people I photograph, me going from a photographer and going from an artist, because I never seen myself as an artist, but I noticed with a bunch of my friends, and that's the kind of only downfall from my journey, because I wish I would have took a bunch of my friends that I took pictures of that not here for, and like you asked him Prosper the question, how did you balance that? You're doing parties and stuff, or you're at the second line, how did you balance from going from capturing the moment and not trying to be in the moment? But a lot of my friends I lost through our crazy journey called life. But I noticed around the time when their birthdays or Mother's Day and Father's Day was coming around after Katrina, I noticed when friends and parents and stuff like that was trying to celebrate their loved ones. And I had those photos. But I was doing it a while before I even started something. I did it for a while before I started wrapping them up and gifting people and, doing it on social media. I was doing that beforehand because I just wanted, I lost my brother in 93, and I know a lot of people lost people, and it's hard. But I just, they was coming around, social media was in vogue, so you're seeing friends, mothers, trying to celebrate their loved ones and couldn't do it. And I had the opportunity to help them really bring that moment to life, so I just started off and just took off.
Yeah, Crista, I have a question to move this forward in sort of thinking about that signature style. You have a signature style that's really immersive with your work, that is participatory and documentary, almost balanced in a beautiful way. Can you talk a little bit about?
Yeah, I think, when you watch a second line, when you watch a parade, you're always watching from the sidelines. And when I was shooting news, I would always watch these, folks shoot, and they would always be on the outside. And I was like, fuck that, I'm going in, So you get in it, and you're face to face with the people that are performing for you and dancing for you and singing for you, or, all the beautifulness of being immersed in it, and you feel it. You can feel that emotion in people because they connect with the camera, but then they also connect with the viewer too afterwards. So, immersive, that is the definition of it, I would say. You're actually in it, and you can feel it.
How do you have a thing that goes on in your head where you're like, is it fluid? Because what you just explained is very fluid, right? But you have a thing where it goes, like snaps your head, where like, okay, now I got to get into like extra documentarian mode.
So I think it's kind of funny when I sometimes teach photography, but not well because I'm not. Anyway, so what I say is, there's 3 ways to document a scene if you're a journalist, right? So let's say we could just take this room for instance. So we're here in this room, and you're assigned to cover the event, right? You need to make sure you get a wide shot from the back, from the front, and then you grab some mid shots, right? So maybe us sitting up here, maybe Joseph over there in the corner, and then you got to get some tights, right? So you get tights the hands, your beautiful, earrings, your glasses, your pen on your head, your shoes. You get all those details, and then from that you can tell a story. So when I'm shooting, I think, okay, like I can edit this in my head, right? I'm like, boom, that goes, like it pieces itself together in a beautiful, Tapestry, thank you. Whoever said that. I drank one of those, and that's not good. But yeah, so journalism helps, obviously, if that's how you start off. And I started off as a journalist, and then I moved into documentaries. And now I'm much more of an activist, really. Like I used to say, I'd say I'm like 90% activist now. And, the other part is journalism. But journalism is activism, and so is, anyway, yeah.
Prosper, I'm gonna ask you about your signature style as well, and I have some. I'm gonna scroll through some of these graphics behind you on the screen while you talk. But so I know you're really capturing this musical moments, really this black and white, this sort of like noir but modern. Can you tell us a little bit about how you arrived at your style?
I was a very adventurous kid, so I used to just roam a lot, and I was very observative of my surroundings, and I always kind of saw I'm also a big fan of like just really well shot films, and so I always would see things kind of like as if it was like in my head it's like a movie's playing, but the movie's like my life, and I just realized at one point I blinked and I was like, wow, so much has happened, so much has passed. And then I moved to New York for like a while, and it was way faster, right? So like, I think I kind of arrived at this point where I like capturing beautiful still moments, like beautiful moments of movement, and like beautiful like still moments that kind of like together. And I think there's also just a lot of like trying to be present. One thing about the camera is like I told myself like some of my favorite shots. Like I didn't have my camera on because I was like driving or something. But I think also just being present enough to like and prepared. Like I just And music I'm also a musician too. I've been a producer for like my whole life. So. My love for music is just kind of like a reason why I document people who also share that same passion. Like whether it's a DJ, whether it's a saxophone player, trumpet player, whatever. I just love music, family musicians. So yeah, it's just like in me, like 100%.
Can you tell us about the shot? I love that shot.
Shout out my dog and Twiggy. That's my boy. That's my brother. So And Twiggity actually was one of the first artists, like DJs, whatever, artists in the community that embraced me as a photographer aside from music. Because I was doing photography like pretty much the whole time I was like, I also am a hip hop artist and produce and stuff. So it was kind of hard for some of my peers to kind of I guess respect me as a photographer because they just didn't really understand the why. Because they were like, you're good at this, what are you doing that for? How are you going to be kind of like to your question, like how are you going to be the MC and then photographer? I was like, well, I'm trying to tell my story, but yeah. I could go on about this, but
Yeah. Right? Thanks for that. Yeah. Okay, this is going to be, I'm going to throw the question out there, like to see who grabs it first, right? Okay. Is it about technology, presence, storytelling, or something else?
It's storytelling.
Please,
Oh,
go
I
for
thought
it.
No, like, okay.
Yes, jump.
What's yours though? I said storytelling. What's yours?
Technology, presence, storytelling, or something else?
All of the above.
Yeah. So go on that.
But like, what's the first? You can't put them into the first.
Run the man.
Technology, presence.
Being at the right place at the right time is the most important. That presence.
Yeah, you're right.
I think you could take any one of those and say that's the top one. I guess different circumstances
Yeah.
change what comes first.
So like wrong camera, wrong scene, no go. Right camera, right scene. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You can mix those things up, right?
You know,
Sometimes you got to work with the
me, it was times
disposable.
people- I would walk in some places on purpose without my camera. People ask me if I don't have my camera. Like, if I ain't got my camera, you can go home. Why can't you just come to the party? Spend most of the time not enjoying myself at parties, photographing the parties.
Right place, wrong time.
Yeah. Knowing when your family and the culture, like my dad paraded with YMO, so always designated, I gotta be there. I take a picture with him, catching him parading with his club members, all his family members, the grandkids, certain spots on the parade route where we know somebody that my dad is cool with, they're not walking the second line, but when they get close around their house to try to get him a picture with them and stuff like that, so brothers and stuff too,
Yeah. So in that situation, the camera matters less. Just about being in the right place at the right time, and you use whatever you got in your head.
Yeah. In a way. If you're not there, you get in some trouble. Because they had a lot of other stuff used to be going on. Because a lot of times we wanted to line, me and some of my friends, we talking like the big talkers about the second line culture. We be winning a lot of questions. We been passing around with some of my friends. Man, what we used to do on a Sunday when they didn't have a second line? We had block parties on some Sundays and going to lake on some Sundays and stuff. The lake was popping in the 90s and stuff too. But what we used to do when they didn't have a second line every Sunday, I still trying to figure out what were we doing.
Barbecue at home,
Not really hard.
reading the paper.
Or recuperating from Thursday, Friday, Saturday night in the club and being prepared to go to a block party and back to a club or something. That one time, I think I was in the club sometimes 6 nights a week. In the 90s, like, it was a period of time. In the 90s, like 6 nights a week in the club, still had a day job, still had to do homework with
What was your
kids
day
and
job?
stuff.
Whatever.
Sell plants or
You
whatever.
sold plants?
I worked at a nursery.
Get out of here.
Yeah, Bandit's Nursery. I started there in
My
93.
parents had a nursery.
Yeah, but they hired, I need a job. Good thought about it. By taking Polo 6, 7 nights a week, the kind of job I went for and thought that was better for me, and that's the ones where they will crack the whip on you. I can always tell them I'm gone. But my being myself, and the plant, anybody that got a garden, plant people are cool as I'm a cool laid back brother. But I was raised to do what you're told, and I get that, do what I gotta do, so they never had a problem. Even when I took off to travel or some stuff, they know if they hired me and they had something open, I'm gonna come there and get it done. So I always kept a grip, what you call it, rapport with them till up until now.
Yeah.
And they finally done sold off, and this other bigger company done bought them out and stuff like that. But they know my track record because one of the original horticulturists is still there.
Amazing.
And once he vouched for me, yeah.
You have plants in your background?
Yeah, plants.
Plants.
Yeah, I got some plants.
Do you want to talk about storytelling?
Oh,
Crista, yeah,
oh, me?
yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm so bad at this. Y'all ask me a question about it. Like what do you want to know? There's so much. Narrow it down. Or put something up.
So,
Yeah, so much.
so when it comes to storytelling, how often are you going in with an idea of what the story is going to be, and you're going to
Oh, and it
shape
changes
it,
every single time.
and then how often do you just show up and you just discover the story because you're
That happens to you a lot.
yeah, and like how do you what is your favorite version of those two
think-
scenarios, and how do you deal with it as you go? How do you improvise?
I think I've been doing this forever, and so you kind of get the knack at like figuring out where it is. And sometimes it's a puzzle that you have to put together, right? Sometimes you meet the right person straight off. You walk in the door, you're like, boom, that's the motherfucker for the story right there. Like you know it. You know what I mean? It's like this innate ability. And other times you'll be like, oh, I planned out this whole thing. I got this. This is who I'm interviewing these 3 people. This is the story. I've researched all this stuff. You get there, and it's not completely different. You're like, okay. And then you have to, pivot, as they say. And I mean, that's all journalism is. It's the discovery of the story and how well you are at finding it.
How did the pandemic supermarket shot come together?
Oh man, is that the one that's up? Oh yeah. So that's Midori. She's a makeup artist, a really talented makeup artist. And a lot of my friends were out of work that worked in the arts, right? So all my movie folk friends and service industry. My husband was a bartender, is still a bartender. So all of my people were out of work, and it was a struggle. And I got hired by the city of New Orleans, Nola Reddy, to help. I don't know. I don't want to say like force people to get vaccinated, but that's not the way. Entice them into getting vaccinated, to get tested. So I was part of the propaganda machine, I guess, maybe. But so anyway, Midori is a makeup artist, and I had this idea because it was stay 6 feet apart from each other, right? And I called her up and I was like, "What's the biggest dress you have?" And she was like, "Oh, I got this dress." And I was like, "Okay, can we make it larger? Like how big?" I'm talking like huge. She's like, "Yeah," and then I could do this stuff with my hair. And I was like, "Okay." And I went into Bromart and I said, "Hey, can I do this weird thing for?" And they said, "Yeah, but don't like put up lights or anything. Like you can't bring in anything."
It's a supermarket. It's super well lit anyway.
Yeah, but you want to control the lighting a little bit. So we get there and she struck that pose and I was like, "It's perfect." And then she went on some buses. She was on a few buses and she was on a billboard.
To pivot here a little bit out of that, do you definitely have a storytelling, is it presence storytelling or the mechanics of the technology?
I'd probably say it's a combination of storytelling and presence, because there are, not even just storytelling, but I say other, because I kind of do like when it comes to New Orleans photography in particular, I'm kind of like focused on preservation of like New Orleans culture and the New Orleans experience, like the raw New Orleans experience, because of like climate change is really like a serious thing, and I feel like we have like a limited time here, like we're on borrowed time, feels like. So like that's really like a big part of it, just like, and I guess I am telling the story of New Orleans from my perspective.
So I'm going to ask you this next question right away, which is you just led into it unintentionally, but it's amazing.
Wow.
How do you navigate the responsibility of showing New Orleans to itself and the world?
That's an incredible question. You know, I think I just try to tell the honest story of New Orleans. I think when I think of, I'll say living abroad actually helped me see this clear. I realized that people had like they were misinterpreting New Orleans, and I felt more obligated when I realized how we were being received in like other cities and states, to use my like share my perspective and be like, hey, this is what New Orleans is like. Like when I went to New York, for example, I went and I had 2 exhibitions, all New Orleans themed, just so I could show them this is what New Orleans is really like, and it's not just you know, Mardi Gras and like parties and French Quarter. Like, yeah, we have an actual culture, we have an actual community, and it's a special place to experience this on a day-to-day. And yeah, I just do it, you know. It's just, I feel like it's necessary, and yeah, I don't really think too hard about it, you know.
Polo, do you have something to say on that?
I don't know. I know crazy part about it, you know, one thing about it, since there was the 20th anniversary of Katrina, I got reached out by a lot of different people and companies trying to do Katrina documentaries and stuff like that. But I know I turned down a couple of them because they didn't want me to tell the story of my photograph. Y'all could get the photograph, but I don't think no one can tell the stories about my work better than me or the people that's in it. If I wanted to talk to them people, they didn't want to do that part, this, that, and talk about their budget. But I tell them about my budget, that's all right. I mean, y'all do what y'all gotta do, but this how it gotta go.
A lot of opportunities come your way, and you can't take all of them, right?
Yeah, you could.
You could.
Oh yeah, you can if the price is right. Because it's a crazy part.
Yeah.
I mean, you never knowing you're gonna, you know. I mean, one of the first current calls when I finally got settled in Atlanta after finally leaving here after 2 weeks after Katrina, going to Houston to make sure my mom and my grandmother was straight, then going to Atlanta. And I finally got a call from Gerard Mouton, who's and helped me so much on my journey. I met him like in 92, 91, and he's like, knows everything about the history of photography and everything. So I thank him for helping me along on my journey. But he called me and said, Polo, how you made out for Katrina? Did you lose anything and stuff like that? I was like, no. He said, no, Polo, you have something nobody else have in the world. Don't give it away. You know, me and him had that. I mean, I talked to him all the time. We just had another talk, I think, Thursday or Friday, he called me, checking on me and stuff like that. And I was like, boom, boom, boom. I mean, I run everything because of his knowledge and everything on photography and stuff like that. I kind of been blessed to be able to have someone like him around where I can run everything about me, because I never thought these doors was going to open for me. It was my journey. For me, it wasn't the path I was going on. I don't know. I just did it because I loved it. And then once you get started, I mean, people just start. Like I say, but when you don't have your camera, you don't. Yeah. And it's kind of like pecking order in a way. You know, like the Mardi Gras Indians. There's the spy boy going on up. Where you think about this, that, work your way to that. But I'm just thinking about that. There's a pecking order in the whole thing I've done in photography. Because in our city, we came to black community, we got this little pecking order, the hot boy, or this person, it, or that, or it. The crazy part about it, my camera, a lot of times when the Magnolia was beefing with the Cali, or the Magnolia beefing with the St. Thomas, or the boys on Amelia Street, or Third Galvez, and dudes from the Florida Project, man, my camera was my key to get me some spots where I really wasn't supposed to be at certain times in my life. So a lot of times I didn't bring some of my friends with me. But that would throw everything off, because it probably would have went away that it shouldn't have been. You know, because part of my journey was I've been in some of the, that's why I call myself kind of like the ghetto Older Mills. I knew Older Mills wouldn't come into places that I was doing photography, but a lot of times I done been in spaces and There's time I had my kids and some of my family with me too, and it really turned crazy. And I'm just thankful and blessed that, you know, I've seen some people got shot up. I've been around part of this journey, man. It's a crazy part about it. I've been around murders to this journey. Sometimes I've been out shooting in a club, and next day I got friends of the person, so I'm calling me trying to get pictures of them because I was just taking a picture last night, and I hear no more. So it's like a blessing and a curse to me. I think the only people been to more funerals than me in this city is probably the funeral people where people are having bodies and stuff like that. But, you know, I come from that crazy era when they start talking about all them years with the murder capital. And man, the crazy part about it, you know, you got a beep and stuff like that. My grandmother could never remember my beeping number on my phone, but those older ladies in our family used to be always up. I know my grandmother and them used to always be up when that first news that come on at 5 and it's at 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning. So my sister and them used to get mad because she would be calling them to check on me to make sure nothing didn't happen to me because I really was doing photography and some of the most dangerous parts of this city. Yeah. Now, it wasn't never dangerous to me, but things just happened. Bad. But there's more good to it than more bad. Now, the good part, too, if I did lose a lot of my friends and stuff like that, I've been able to give their family members something they could pass down a generation. Cause just that in my grandmother's house, we used to see generations of pictures on the wall, you know, like that. A lot of my friends, you know, one of my friends, like a year and a half ago, I gave his son a picture, and he growing up, he looks just like his father. He was like 1 year old, and last year I blessed him with a picture with him, his mom, and his dad. I don't have no picture with my mom, and my dad together, but you know what I'm saying. But be able to give somebody something that to pass down to their children means a lot. It means more than all the accolades and stuff I've been getting from my work, but those little things like that mean more to me than anything.
Crista, that responsibility.
Well, I would, you know, he's talking about he's in the club or, you know, he's in the projects and shooting, and the next thing he knows, his friend has passed away. So he was there before, maybe sometimes even during. And then as a journalist, I show up after, right? And so I just think it's such an honor to sit next to.
First of all, you know what I'm saying? That's crazy. Just to be next to you is cool shit.
But also, you know, when you think about how different we all are and what we do, and how what we all, it's the same art form, and we're all here on stage together. It's just really beautiful. But I have this. When I was about 23, when I first started working as a photojournalist, that my whole job was just to cover murder scenes. And holy fuck, that's pretty hard when you're 23. So I have a tape. It's 60 minutes of nothing but children looking at dead bodies. I'm not, you know, like that. That's so heavy.
It's your job, right?
I know. Do you guys need another dad joke?
Prosper. Were you about to jump in there?
No. What you want to say? No, I like ask the question again. I just want to make sure.
Oh yeah, the responsibility of showing. Oh, we already started with you at that one.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
You already got that one. Do we?
Nines.
Yeah. Does anyone out there, wildcard, any burning questions? This gentleman in the back.
Hey, hi there. Thank you all for sharing your stories. My question was, do you deal with perfectionism in your craft? And if so, how do you deal with perfectionism? When it comes to like getting the perfect shot, or like just like overly thinking about what it means to have a good piece of work.
Are you talking about like your inner saboteur? Like when you get to a job, you're like, I suck. This picture sucks. I don't know what I'm doing. Are you talking about that?
That or like
No.
trying to get the right picture. Or,
Right angle.
Yeah.
I mean,
right shot.
you know, I think a beautiful piece of advice for photographers, and not these people on stage because they know what the fuck they're doing. But a great piece of advice to any photographer would be, if you, and let's look at this room, for instance, right? Like, how do you see the room, right? You could just be standing up straight and that's boop, boop, boop. But like, can you see it from a different angle? You see what I'm saying? Like, how cool would this room look if I put this little drum kit in the foreground to make the shot? They call it a dirty shot, right? So the drum is sort of blurry, and then you see the rest of the crowd, and those lights are shining. Like, that would be pretty. You see what I'm saying? Like, so you have to think, what does no one else see? Like, what, I'm gonna walk into this room, everyone sees the same shit, but like, what do I see differently? And that, so, is that what you're asking?
Yeah.
Do you see in black and white?
No.
No, I don't see it in black and white. I do not.
When you take the pictures, you don't see them in black and white?
I don't. I see them in color, but there's a deeper thing with the black and white. It's really just a conversation about how we like handle race. And when I put images in black and white, I think it just shows that we're all connected and that racism is ignorant. Yeah.
I was wondering if you all thought of yourself as historians and like archivists, like at the base of like what you're doing. It sounds like.
Definitely.
History.
There's a lot of that going on in today's world.
Yeah. Probably more important now than ever to preserve archive.
Mm-hmm. And tell the story that actually fucking happened.
Yeah.
We have another question back here? Do we have another question? I'm going to turn the last question. Oh, second last question. Here we go.
What brings y'all joy the most in your art making and in community spaces in your practice?
Hearing someone else's story is one of the most beautiful things ever.
Kind of like the same, just giving people that images, especially family images. And a lot of times what I used to do too, what I noticed, because I did a lot of nightclub stuff and I all through that era where, the thugging big time and #1 stunners. And a lot of things was period on me and a bunch of my black friends we're not good fathers and stuff like that. So a bunch of my friends, if I'm always taking these pictures in the clubs. But I'd be out shooting a second line, shooting that Super Sunday with my backdrops. When I saw my friends with their kids, I grabbed them to make sure I get a shot of them with their kids. That meant a lot to me, giving them a picture of their kids. Something they'll have to pass down to their kids and stuff, and just capturing that moment for it. Cause in camera, in black families and stuff like that, we weren't really big on cameras and stuff too. But I noticed how I kind of disappointed the camera phone came in, but I'm happy that the camera phone did come around because, I noticed through the years where people really started taking pictures of their kids for the first day of schools or sometime on their birthdays when they would hire a photographer, didn't have that. And a lot of my friends before the camera phones and out there, I kind of knew when their kids' birthday, I knew when their birthdays. If I wasn't doing their birthday parties, I'd go around, or if they come to the club or something like I'd catch them that weekend or second, I just give them that picture celebrating them and just celebrating us as people.
Yeah, I would say I get joy from the act of sharing the work, and especially with particular people who are like in like one of the subjects. Because like for us, it was probably like we were just hanging out. Like my friend Shantae is over here, and we have a friend Deanna. And I remember we went to a second line, and I had my camera with me, and obviously I bring my camera to the second line. And I just took this portrait of my friend. I was like, oh wow, this is like, the light is perfect. This is a really nice shot. I love your earrings. Boom. And just put it on Instagram. And then, I don't know if you guys know Kasimu Harris. Kasimu is like a really dope photographer from the city. Photojournalist as well. And Kasimu goes like, hey, you should like submit for this show. There was that Stella Jones gallery. Shout out Stella Jones. And then the work got in this really dope exhibition, and the moment when I was able to like share that with my friend, and to see her joy as like to see how I saw her, I think that moments like that really, really I think is like a big part of the why too. It's like because I'm trying to capture also joyful moments. So being able to capture it in real time and then for it to be able to be shared with community and then to share the love for friendship, I think that brings the joy for me.
For the last question of the night, I want to turn it over to our resident documentarian, Samuel Birdsong, and co-producer of this whole event this evening for our final question.
Oh, wow, no pressure. And Joseph, I like the spin on the question that you gave me, so I might have to get you to. I'm going to ask the question, and I might get you to re-ask it because there's a proper structure to things, even when we're being immersive. But when I interview for this documentary project that I'm doing with like musicians' hierarchy of needs or filmmakers' hierarchy of needs, like often I'm talking to New Orleans artists, and my favorite question to ask at the end is, what does New Orleans have to teach America about itself? And Joseph did a nice evolution on that just now, and like I'd like, since those are your words, I'd like you to ask them in your words because you keyed it up pretty well.
That was pretty good.
Yeah, well,
If New Orleans could teach America something through your lens, what would that lesson be?
If New Orleans could teach something to America from mine, man, that's a good question.
I think, can I jump in and is that all right?
Jump in.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think, what are we really good at?
Parties.
Class.
Drinking.
What are we really good at here?
Celebration.
Celebrating us, right? And we don't have that. You leave New Orleans, you go to fucking Metairie, and it's gone, right? That is, the rest of America is Metairie. Right? Like they don't have this shit here at all. It's true. And where the fuck? Maybe a little bit in New York, right? You got a little bit here and there, sprinkled throughout. Okay, fine.
Metairie folks in the building?
Yeah, whatever. West Bank, Metairie, you go whichever way. But I feel like that's what we share with. That's what we could teach. How did we lose that? Why is everything concrete? Strip malls and fucking Applebee's. Why? How did we lose this? Because this is the shit. God, we're so fucking amazing. Okay.
Yeah, I would say I think the rest of America or the world, is it America? The rest of America, right? I feel like the rest of America could just learn like authenticity from us, and we're very true to self. You can also learn a lot about Southern hospitality. And like this community is like really small. I almost feel like everybody feels like your distant cousin or something. But for some reason, like we're just this community that always finds ways to actually commune and be together. Like whether it's a second line, whether it's through the arts or whether it's through like street performances. I think there's just always this space of just like us like unifying through art and culture. And I think that the world could just learn how to embrace like your inner artist. I feel like New Orleans is like 75% artists. So like I think it just shows you how to like truly live in your art and be immersed by it. Because to me it's like a way of life. I think in other areas I see like people kind of just get lost in the grind and like the 9 to 5 and like they lose that creative like itch they had when they were kids. I think we kind of always remind you to like lean into that throughout your life. Like it's like one big musical in New Orleans. So yeah.
Polo.
I don't know, because I've heard like a friend of mine from Switzerland told me he came over a couple of times when he come his first trip to the United States was to come to New Orleans and hang out with me.
Yeah.
He done been over here 3 times, but when COVID was on, my friend Jalan, she's a hairdresser. She got a studio in Minnesota now, but when she came down for COVID, so when I went to go pick up, allegedly Kermit was open when he wasn't supposed to be open, so that was the only place we had to go. when I went to go pick her up, she watching this live. Something, I don't know what I was crazy about that. It was that DJ D Nice, and I'm looking on it. He got Michelle Obama on there and over 100,000 people on his live. And like, she wasn't ready to leave yet. What's going on with them? Just everybody on it. So damn, got live on. That's all right. Let me try it. But the unique thing about mine, I used to do mine starting like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. At like 5, 6, longer to let it run and stop and start it over. But I was getting people from all over the world drawn to my page, Africa, Uruguay, places I never heard of, never thought of, and for like the first 5 months, I wouldn't say nothing. People be commenting and boom, 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 and some people come on there. He gonna go live, but he not gonna say nothing. I have some music playing, or I just let the live roll, but people was amazed about that.
Where were you going live?
My house, I just run a slideshow of my pictures. I had like 50,000 pictures. I mean, that was cool with me. But it opened my work up to the world. I mean, the first 6 months and stuff, I wouldn't say nothing. Just let it run. And then I finally start talking there before they start playing it. But I used to just then when I start playing stuff, I had this cassette I got, CDs of the Martin Luther King speeches. I used to just let them run.
Yes.
I wouldn't say nothing to that for some reason. I don't know.
Did
I
you make
thought that
money
was
off
good
that?
for people.
Did you get paid off that?
They wasn't really paying yet then.
They weren't paying.
But they paying now. They pay good. Yeah, but I don't know. It's a blessing, you know.
Ladies and gentlemen, can we hear it for these guys? Everyone tonight, this is incredible. This conversation. I want to thank everybody for coming out and for putting the time together. I want to thank for making the time for this because I thought it was really special. I learned a lot tonight about just in general everything photography, but I learned a lot about you individuals and really respect the shit out of all of you, big time. So.
Thank everybody for coming. Appreciate y'all for real.
Thanks,
Yeah.
everyone.
There's some tacos after this, you know what I'm saying?
Let's give it up for Joseph too for facilitating this amazing conversation.
Feel good, guys. Really good questions, bro.
I just want to say just the last things. I just want to thank again the New Orleans Jazz Museum, Danny, Kadar, and Travis for setting up this stage tonight. Greg Evans and I love for their programming here. The team that puts this together, my co-producer for the night, Samuel Birdsong. We literally had like a come into Jesus call like 10 days ago, and we're like, we fucking doing this, or we doing this? We did it, okay? Next month, we're gonna come back in a month, right before there's a Faulkner conference, okay, in New Orleans that happens. We're gonna come back here to this room on the